The Dinkum Firearm and Historic Weapons Museum?
That's right.
You got a museum here?
Well, the Dinkum Museum is obviously a very important part of the film, and part of our craft is to be historically correct. So what we did in the museum was we tried to think of what should really be in a museum.
The director wanted something more of an eclectic feel, something spanning of times. So in Dinkum's Armory, picked out weapons that were everything from the Roman Empire to Zulu warfare, to World War II, World War I, also some Japanese, Asian weaponry that was also inside Dinkum's Armory.
Okay. We're good. Take my picture.
The set deck people did a marvelous job of building up that museum the way someone who was really into it would build a museum if they had that ability.
그러니까 어느 나라를 가든 어떤 그런 오타쿠 성격의 그런 사람들이 있는데 이 사람도 특이하게도 밀리터리에 빠져 있는 그런 오타쿠의 어떤 개성과 그의 어떤 그 특이한 습성과 이런 것들을 그 안에다 옮겨 놓으려고 했었죠. 그래서 그 사람은 그 영화 한 장면에서는 나오지만 거기서 먹고 자고 그 무기들을 보면서 행복해하고 또 그 무기들을 자기가 가지고 있다는 거에 대해서 좀 만족해하고 그 세계에 빠져 있는 사람이라.
I want to be deputized like Frank here. So any damage caused to or by me will be official business of the Somerton Junction's Sheriff's Office. I carry a .50 caliber, which this is the toy one. The real one's much heavier and provides quite a kick when you shoot it. 3, 2, 1. That one hit me right in the arm.
This is a heavy weapon, you know, and it is a 50 caliber type weapon, the Smith & Wesson 500, the largest, most powerful production handgun on the market today. When we shoot blanks, you don't have as much recoil in it. Sometimes you have to fake it or act that kind of movement with the gun. But either way, it's obviously a very big gun, very big blank, and it comes out looking very impressive on camera.
So this is my gun of choice, but in the museum I have all kinds of things. I have Tommy guns, you know, the old Dillinger machine guns. I have the Vickers gun. I guess it was probably used in WW1 and WW2, I would assume, if they're calling it a Nazi killer. Looks like they had a better machine gun by then, but
the guns in this movie are crazy. I mean, we've got present-day rifles, we've got machine guns, we've got Uzis.
everything you need for a party. Oh, I want to hang on to old Georgetta here, seeing as I'm the only one fit to handle her.
Okay, let's go.
Or you can handle her too, Ray, and you too, Frank. You might be able to handle her.
Oh, thanks, Louis.
Okay, let's go.
Okay.
The weapons that we decided to pick on as far as the hero actors were a lot more low-tech, more vintage kind of look that we were going for. So Jamie, she's actually running just a bolt-action Mossberg 30-06. She had no training either, so we sat down with her and did some weapons training with her as far as like how a sniper actually operates, moves, pulls, you know, focus and stuff like that.
I've never really worked with guns that much. I'm more of a knife and sword girl. It's been awesome. We have an awesome weapons expert named Brett. We did a lot of on-set training, you know, like you do with any weapon, you know, a certain protocol so you don't hurt anybody, especially me because I'm super clumsy. But I do have a handgun and I also do have a sniper rifle.
Our sheriff, of course, is a law enforcement official, so he winds up with the Remington 870. It's a pump-action shotgun. You can go to almost any law enforcement vehicle in the United States, and you'll probably find an 870 in about 85 to 90% of them. It makes sense that our sheriff, when he reaches for a shotgun, this would be the kind of weapon that he would come up with. If you look at the other stuff that's in the museum, there's stacks of crates that artillery shells used to get carried in. If you look in the background, there's model tanks and little aircraft and things in the background, flags and signage and things like that. There's an anti-aircraft gun that's mocked up in the museum. And obviously they find the Vickers gun in the museum. The Tommy gun comes out of the museum.
Voila!
Jesus Christ, Lewis.
God, what a beauty. Where the hell did you get this?
Vicky, she's my little Nazi killer. My 1939 Vickers gun. My little crazy bitch. Of course, she can't really fire in the legal sense, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But I did track down all the missing parts, so she could function theoretically. Of course, that's between us and Jesus. Uncle Sam can't know about that.
That was an actual Vickers machine gun that was built in 1916. It is an actual operating real machine gun. It has actually served in 2 campaigns. This is actually from a company, ISS, and we archive and store weapons just for featured films.
This is one of the first practical machine guns that were used in battle. It's a World War I vintage type weapon. It survived between the wars because of how efficient it was. When people talk about the devil's paintbrush and guys going over the top and running through no man's land, this was the type of weapon that they had to go up against.
The longest time period that it actually ran was for 10 hours straight. Went through over 1 million rounds, changed out its barrel 10 times, and was consistently running that whole time. So it's a very reliable weapon.
It's a water-cooled weapon. This is the water jacket that actually cooled the barrel down. And the belts of ammunition are quite long. They're 9 yards long. And that's where the term, give them the whole 9 yards, comes from. Because when they were shooting out on the battlefield, you would run through a whole belt. That would be 9 yards worth of ammunition. If you want to come over here and take a look at the inside of the mechanism, it's very simple. Sheet metal, kind of a box-like construction, and when the mechanism functions, it almost looks like an old sewing machine or an old piece of machinery in the way it feeds the rounds in and out. One of the things about this gun is you can see this when it fires, this actually spins on the outside of the gun as you're firing. So if you have your hands like this, your knuckles get whacked. So there is a prescribed way of firing the weapon, which is kind of back here and keeping your knuckles out of the way. And that was also one of the things that we trained Arnold in doing when we set up the gun.
Not this hand. This hand, to hit it down, the reason why you're doing that is this thing moves this direction.
Yeah.
Right? If you hit it and the gun goes off again, the bolt travels this direction so that the explosion will happen that way and push your hand away.
Keeping in mind that we only fire blanks, they are not shooting projectile down range, we're doing everything in a safe manner, yet we still have to have the mechanism function for it to be believable. So you also get a big muzzle flash coming out of our little muzzle brake at the end there, much more with blanks than you would with live ammunition. But we need that visual impact on camera, again, for that kind of wow factor.
Hey, what about this one?
Ah, Tommy. She fires your standard 45s. In all due respect, ma'am, you look shit hot holding it.
Thanks, Dinkum.
The Tommy gun is also from ISS with all the rest of the weapons that we work with. This is actually another real operating weapon.
This particular Thompson is the model 1928 version. It uses a drum magazine, 45 caliber with 50 rounds in it. It's not really the type of thing that you see very much anymore in law enforcement or in military realm because it's kind of clunky, it's kind of heavy, but gosh, it's classic looking, isn't it?
Oh, that's badass.
We want the guns to work, be safe, and function out on set. So we test fire all of our weapons before we send guns out on set. So we have Brian here today. He's getting ready to test fire one of the Thompsons that Fergie's going to use.
Okay. Okay, weapon's hot. Weapons clear.
Weapons clear. So you can see, again, it looks real. There was an impressive muzzle flash. You can see the shells coming out of it. It actually recoils almost like the live round would make the gun recoil. It gives the actor something to react to, so it looks believable. That's why we really need to have real guns in actors' hands when you want it to look believable. Because you can run around and you can generate something with CGI, and there is a spot for that in our craft. But if you really want it to look believable, you have to have the real thing.
현대 와서 옛날에 그 유명한 총들 또는 어떤 무기들을 사용한다는 것이 그리고 그것을 현대 무기로 무장한 그러한 그 상대와 싸워서 그 무기로 옛날 무기로 그것을 제압한다는 어떤 설정들이 무척 재밌었고 옛날 무기들에서 느껴지는 어떤 그 향수라든가 그리고 현대 무기는 되게 뭔가 이렇게 은밀하고 빠르고 되게 정확하고 하지만은 옛날 무기가 갖고 있는 어떤 통쾌한 어떤 박력과 통쾌한 에너지와 그리고 그 비주얼에 있어서의 어떤 그런 그 직접적인 어떤 느낌들 이런 것들은 옛날 무기들이 더 재밌었고 그 옛날 무기를 사용해서 현대 무기의 어떤 그 적들을 상대해서 이긴다라는 어떤 그 설정들이 무척 재밌었던 것 같아요.
You think this is Conan the Barbarian?
I like that fucking guy. He was good.